Did you know that nearly 50% of apricot tree owners make critical mistakes when pruning? According to recent studies, improper pruning can reduce fruit yield by up to 30%. If you want to maximize your harvest and keep your apricot trees healthy, stick around as we uncover the common mistakes to avoid when pruning your apricot trees. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into the essential topic of apricot tree pruning. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just starting out, proper pruning is key to a healthy and fruitful tree. Let's get started. First, let's talk about why pruning is so important for apricot trees. Proper pruning can make a significant difference in the health and productivity of your tree. Here are some key reasons. 1. Promote healthy growth. Pruning encourages the growth of new shoots and branches. By removing older, less productive wood, you allow the tree to focus its energy on developing new growth, which is essential for fruit production. 2. Increase fruit production. A well-pruned apricot tree can produce more fruit and higher quality apricots. By thinning out crowded branches, you ensure that sunlight can reach all parts of the tree, which is crucial for fruit development. This also helps prevent the tree from overproducing, which can lead to smaller, less flavorful fruit. 3. Maintain shape and structure. Pruning helps maintain the tree's shape and structure, easier vase-like structure that allows sunlight to penetrate the center. This shape not only looks good but also supports healthy growth. 8. Step back and assess. After making some cuts, step back and assess the tree's shape. This will help you see if you need to make any additional cuts or adjustments to maintain balance. 9. Seal large cuts if necessary. For larger cuts, you might consider using a pruning sealant to protect the wound from pests and diseases. However, many experts suggest that trees can heal naturally, so use this sparingly and only for significant cuts. 10. Clean up after pruning. After you've finished pruning, be sure to clean up any fallen branches or debris around the tree. This helps prevent pests and diseases from taking hold in your garden. Pruning can be tricky, and even seasoned gardeners can make mistakes. Here are some common pitfalls to watch out for. 1. Pruning at the wrong time. Pruning too early or too late can harm your tree. Always aim for late winter or early spring to ensure optimal growth. 2. Ignoring tree health. Focusing solely on aesthetics can lead to neglecting the tree's health. Always prioritize removing dead or diseased wood first. 3. Using dull tools. Dull tools can tear the bark and create wounds that are slow to heal. Always ensure your tools are sharp and clean before you start. 4. Over-pruning. As mentioned earlier, removing too much foliage can stress the tree. Stick to the 20% rule to maintain a healthy balance. 5. Neglecting to assess the tree's structure. Failing to step back and evaluate the tree's shape can lead to an unbalanced structure. Regularly assess your work as you prune. Timing is crucial when it comes to pruning apricot trees. Let's dive deeper into the best times to prune and why it matters. 1. Late winter to early spring. The ideal time to prune apricot trees is during late winter to early spring, typically between February and March, just before the buds begin to swell. This timing allows you to make necessary cuts while the tree is still dormant, minimizing stress and promoting healthy growth as the tree wakes up for the growing season. 2. Avoid pruning in fall. Pruning in the fall can stimulate new growth that may not have enough time to harden off before winter. This new growth is vulnerable to frost damage, which can harm the tree and reduce fruit production. 3. Watch for bud swelling. As you approach late winter, keep an eye on the buds. When you notice them starting to swell, it's a sign that it's time to prune. This ensures that you're making cuts just before the tree begins its active growth phase. 4. Consider your climate. Depending on your local climate, the exact timing may vary. In warmer regions, you might find that pruning can be done a bit earlier, while in colder areas, you may need to wait until late March. Always consider your local weather patterns and adjust accordingly. 5. Post-harvest pruning, if necessary. In some cases, light pruning can be done after the harvest in late summer or early fall. This is mainly for removing any dead or diseased wood to help improve air circulation for the remaining fruit. However, avoid heavy pruning at this time to prevent stressing the tree. 6. Monitoring tree health. If your apricot tree shows signs of disease or damage, it's important to address these issues promptly, regardless of the season. Removing affected branches can help prevent the spread of problems and should be done as soon as you notice them. 7. Seasonal growth patterns. Understanding the growth patterns of your apricot tree can also guide your pruning schedule. For instance, if you notice excessive growth in certain areas. 8. Assessing growth throughout the year. Throughout the growing season, keep an eye on how your apricot tree is developing. If you notice that certain branches are growing too vigorously or becoming overcrowded, you can plan to prune them during the next dormant season. This proactive approach helps maintain a healthy structure and encourages better fruit production. 9. Pruning for sunlight and airflow. If you find that some areas of the tree are shaded or crowded, consider light pruning during the growing season to improve sunlight penetration and airflow. This can be particularly beneficial for fruit development and can help reduce the risk of fungal diseases. 10. Timing for specific goals. If your goal is to encourage more fruit production, focus on pruning during the dormant season to shape the tree and remove any competing branches. If you're looking to control the size of the tree, you might consider a combination of dormant and light summer pruning to keep it manageable. 11. Local recommendations. It's always a good idea to consult local gardening resources or extension services for specific recommendations based on your region. They can provide insights into the best practices for your local climate and soil conditions. Now that you know when to prune your apricot trees, let's move on to the techniques you can use to ensure you're making the right cuts for healthy growth. Before we get into the actual pruning, let's go over the tools you'll need. Pruning shears for small branches, loppers for thicker branches, saw for larger cuts, gloves to protect your hands. Make sure your tools are sharp and clean to prevent any damage to the tree. Before you start pruning your apricot trees, it's essential to have the right tools on hand. Let's go through the must-have tools that will make your pruning experience efficient and effective. 1. Pruning shears, hand pruners. These are essential for making clean cuts on small branches and stems. Look for a pair that feels comfortable in your hand and has a sharp, stainless steel blade. Bypass pruners are ideal as they create a clean cut, which helps the tree heal faster. 2. Loppers. For thicker branches that are too large for pruning shears, loppers are your go-to tool. They have long handles that provide extra leverage, making it easier to cut through branches up to 2 inches in diameter. Choose a pair with a sharp blade and comfortable grips. 3. Pruning saw. When dealing with larger branches, a pruning saw is necessary. These saws are designed for cutting wood and have a curved blade that allows for efficient cutting. A folding saw is a great option for easy storage and portability. 4. Pole pruner. If your apricot tree has high branches that are out of reach, a pole pruner can be a lifesaver. This tool extends your reach and often comes with a saw or pruner at the end, allowing you to cut branches without needing a ladder. 5. Safety gear. Don't forget about safety. Wear gloves to protect your hands from cuts and scrapes, and consider safety goggles to shield your eyes. 6. Cleaning tools. After pruning, it's important to clean your tools to prevent the spread of disease. Have a disinfectant solution on hand, such as rubbing alcohol or a bleach solution, to wipe down your tools before and after use. 7. Tar or sealant, optional. While not always necessary, some gardeners choose to use a tree wound sealant on larger cuts to protect the tree from pests and diseases. If you decide to use a sealant, make sure it's specifically designed for trees and follow the manufacturer's instructions for application. 8. Measuring tape. A measuring tape can be helpful for assessing the height of your tree and determining how much you want to prune. This is especially useful if you're trying to maintain a specific shape or size for your apricot tree. 9. Notebook or gardening journal. Keeping a record of your pruning activities can be beneficial. Use a notebook to jot down what you pruned, when you did it, and any observations about the tree's growth. This information can help you make better decisions in future pruning sessions. 10. Bucket or tarp. Having a bucket or tarp on hand can make cleanup easier. As you prune, collect the cut branches and leaves to keep your workspace tidy. This also helps prevent any debris from attracting pests or diseases to your apricot tree. Now that you have your tools ready, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to prune your apricot trees effectively. Proper pruning techniques are crucial for promoting healthy growth and maximizing fruit production. 1. Start with a clean slate. Before you begin, make sure your tools are clean and sharp. This helps prevent the spread of diseases and ensures clean cuts. If you haven't already, disinfect your pruning shears and saws with rubbing alcohol or a bleach solution. Assess the tree. Take a moment to observe your apricot tree. Look for any dead, damaged, or diseased branches that need to be removed. Also, identify any branches that are crossing or rubbing against each other, as these can create wounds and invite pests. 3. Remove dead or diseased wood. Begin by cutting away any dead or diseased branches. Make your cuts at the base of the branch just above a healthy bud or lateral branch. This encourages new growth and helps the tree focus its energy on healthy areas. 4. Thin out crowded areas. If you notice areas where branches are overcrowded, selectively remove some of them to improve airflow and sunlight penetration. Aim to maintain an open center in the tree, which allows light to reach all parts of the tree and reduces the risk of fungal diseases. 5. Shape the tree. As you prune, think about the overall shape of the tree. Aim for a balanced structure with a central leader, the main trunk, and well-spaced lateral branches. Trim back any branches that are growing too long or in undesirable directions. This will help maintain a pleasing shape and encourage even growth. 6. Cut at the right angle. When making cuts, always cut at a slight angle, about a 1/4 inch above a bud or lateral branch. This helps water run off the cut surface and reduces the risk of rot. Avoid leaving stubs, as they can become entry points for pests and diseases. 7. Limit your cuts. It's important not to over-prune your apricot tree. A good rule of thumb is to remove no more than 20 to 30% of the tree's canopy in a single season. Over-pruning can stress the tree and reduce fruit production. Focus on making thoughtful cuts that enhance the tree's health and structure rather than just cutting for the sake of it. 8. Prune for fruit production. If your goal is to maximize fruit yield, consider pruning during the late winter or early spring, just before the tree begins to bud. This timing encourages new growth that will produce fruit. Remove any branches that are too old or weak, as they are less likely to bear fruit. 9. Maintain height. If your apricot tree is getting too tall, you can reduce its height by cutting back the top branches. This not only makes harvesting easier but also encourages lateral growth, which can lead to more fruiting branches. 10. Post-pruning care. After you've finished pruning, take a moment to clean up any fallen debris around the base of the tree. This helps prevent pests and diseases from taking hold. Additionally, consider applying a balanced fertilizer to support new growth and recovery. 11. Monitor your tree. After pruning, keep an eye on your apricot tree throughout the growing season. Look for signs of new growth and any potential issues, such as pests or diseases. Regular monitoring will help you catch any problems early and ensure your tree remains healthy. Make your cuts at a 45-degree angle, just above a bud that faces outward. This encourages growth away from the center of the tree. Now that you've successfully pruned your apricot tree, it's essential to provide the right aftercare to ensure it thrives and recovers well. Let's go over some key aftercare tips. 1. Watering. After pruning, your apricot tree may need extra attention when it comes to watering. Ensure the tree receives adequate moisture, especially during dry spells. Water deeply but infrequently to increase growth. A good rule of thumb is to water once a week, adjusting based on rainfall and soil moisture levels. 2. Mulching. Applying a layer of organic mulch around the base of the tree can help retain soil moisture, suppress weeds, and regulate soil temperature. Use materials like wood chips, straw, or shredded leaves, and spread a 2 to 4 inch layer, keeping it a few inches away from the trunk to prevent rot. 3. Fertilizing. After pruning, your apricot tree will benefit from a balanced fertilizer to support new growth. Look for a fertilizer that is high in potassium and phosphorus, as these nutrients promote flowering and fruiting. Apply the fertilizer according to the package instructions, typically in early spring as the tree begins to wake up from dormancy. 4. Pest and disease monitoring. Keep a close eye on your tree for any signs of pests or diseases, especially after pruning. Look for unusual spots on leaves, wilting, or any signs of insect activity. If you notice any issues, take action promptly. You can use organic pesticides or fungicides as needed, or consider introducing beneficial insects to help control pests naturally. 5. Pruning sealants. While it's generally not necessary to use pruning sealants, if you made large cuts, you might consider applying a tree wound dressing to protect the exposed areas. However, many experts recommend allowing the tree to heal naturally, as sealants can trap moisture and lead to decay. 6. Regular inspections. Schedule regular inspections of your apricot tree throughout the growing season. Check for new growth, fruit development, and regular inspections will help you catch any potential issues early and ensure your tree remains healthy. 7. Support newly planted. Consider providing support to help it establish a strong structure. Use stakes or tree ties to stabilize the tree, especially if it's in a windy area. Be sure to check the ties regularly to ensure they're not too tight, which can damage the bark. 8. Thinning fruit. As your apricot tree begins to produce fruit, you may need to thin the fruit to ensure that the remaining ones grow larger and healthier. Aim to space the fruit about 4 to 6 inches apart. This not only helps with fruit size, but also reduces the risk of branches breaking under the weight of too many apricots. 9. Seasonal care. As the seasons change, adjust your care routine accordingly. In the fall, consider raking up fallen leaves and debris to prevent diseases. In winter, protect the tree from extreme cold by wrapping the trunk with burlap or using tree guards if you live in a particularly harsh climate. 10. Patience is key. Remember that after pruning, it may take some time for your apricot tree to bounce back and start producing fruit again. Be patient and give it the care it needs. With the right aftercare, you'll be rewarded with a healthy tree and a bountiful harvest in the future. Before we wrap up, let's quickly go over some common mistakes to avoid. 1. Pruning too much. Don't remove more than 20% of the tree in one season. 2. Ignoring the tree's shape. Always keep the natural shape of the tree in mind. 3. Pruning at the wrong time. Avoid pruning in late fall or winter when the tree is dormant. Pruning can be a bit tricky, and even seasoned gardeners tree for any unusual signs, such as discoloration or wilting, and take action promptly if you notice any issues. 10. Neglecting to research specific varieties. Different apricot tree varieties may have unique pruning needs. Failing to research the specific type of apricot tree you have can lead to improper care. Make sure to familiarize yourself with the characteristics and requirements of your particular variety to ensure the best results. And there you have it. Pruning your apricot tree can seem daunting, but with these tips, you'll be on your way to a healthier, more productive tree. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more gardening tips, and let me know in the comments how your pruning goes. Happy gardening, and